Begin by sewing the darts in piece number 2 center back. Start by matching the notches at the top and sewing to the lowest drill mark where the dart terminates. Do this along all 4 darts and you will have this with our pieces face up. We're going to place piece number 6 welt pocket over top, matching up those 4 drill marks, and then we'll stitch in this box like you see here. Begin by placing it underneath the machine, and I like to start my box in the middle so that it's easier for my start and stop points. But the main point is that you want to make sure that all of your corners are nice and clean. So you want to stitch around, making sure to manually place the needle if you need to, so that you've got a nice pivot point for all of your corners. And you have this little box here. We'll fold it in half and give it a little snip down the middle, and then we'll start opening up the pocket holes, cut to about a ½ inch away, and then from an angle cut into the corners, creating a little triangle. That triangle will help hold our welt in place later. Then we'll cut along to the other side, getting as close to those corners as we can without cutting all the way through to the thread that we have stitched. Now we'll flip all of this material to the wrong side of the garment and pull our pocket out to its final position. Once we get all the fabric rolled out, I'm going to start manually pressing all of these edges just to get them flat and make sure that the fabric is staying on the inside where it's supposed to be. And I'm rolling out all the wells in those seams so that I have nice, crisp, flat edges for my welt opening. Now I'm going to get out the iron and really press that pocket flat. You can see I could have probably gotten a little bit closer snipping in my corners, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So I'll press those puckers out a little bit, and then I'll fold in my welt by just grabbing a little bit of material and bringing it up to the corners of those boxes and pressing the welt in place. Once I have that pressed, I'll fold up the bottom of my pocket to the top and press that in place. And now I'm ready to stitch. And I just want to stitch along the edges of the pocket. I don't want to stitch through the garment itself. So I have the piece face up, and I'm just going to roll the top piece out of the way so that I'm just stitching through these 2 layers of fabric and my welt and my triangle. I have a piping or invisible zipper foot set on so I can get as close as I can. I'll start with a back tack, stitch all the way down the pocket, and I wanted to catch the base of that triangle from drill mark to drill mark, and manually position my needle in place as I flip the garment self out of the way so that I'm just getting the pocket. I'm pushing my welt down, making sure I'm not stitching through that. I've just got the 2 layers of fabric for my pocket and the 2 little 1/4 inch wide strips where I cut my pocket opening. That's all that I'm stitching through as I'm closing up the top of this pocket to my next drill mark, manually setting my needle in place to pivot to make that corner, and then roll myself out of the way so that I can just stitch down the pocket, the welt, and that little triangle from base to base. Stitch all the way down and finish with a back tack, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. You'll notice that I am stitching at 5/8 seam allowance. The pattern does have a 5/8 inch seam allowance. The reason for that is that I think it makes it a lot easier to get it underneath the serger after you've already stitched the pocket closed, so I do it that way. I've got my pivot point. I'm rolling the top of the fabric out of the way, pushing my welt down, and making sure that I'm just catching the top of the pocket and that little piece where the pocket was cut open. Stitching right over that original line and going to my drill mark, setting my needle in and rotating 90 degrees, catching the base of that triangle from point to point, the welt and the pocket bag, and stitching all the way down and ending with a back tack.